because at the end of the day, I still want to be able I don't dislike George Washington. I don't dislike even some of the most racist people in history. But I want to know their history, but I also want to know not only that, hey, they were whatever, but I also want to know about the Shirley Chisholms. I also want to know about the Frederick Douglasses. And not even Nat Turner. I want to know more about Nat Turner than him just being some revolutionary. I want to know the Nat Turner that was out in the fields. I want to know the Nat Turner that grew up as a kid. I don't want to know just the narrative. Tuned in to Urban Conservative. 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 Tuned in to Urban Conservative.
Q9, my food time, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for.
It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically it's
we got this.
So,
Revolutionary.
winner's frosty hand. Muhammad is the famed name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
Truth, because at the end of the day, I still want to be able I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
Shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from mistakes. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say.
Grand Risings, and welcome back to another episode of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal. We're excited to have you join us on this journey of thoughtful discourse and community engagement. The Urban Conservative is proudly sponsored by the Leon Block Network, an organization committed to promoting transparency, truth, and accountability in our media landscape. Here at the Urban Conservative, our mission remains steadfast to bring you the latest news directly from the streets, addressing critical topics such as gun violence, crime, politics, and perhaps most importantly, exploring solutions to the profound challenges our communities face. As we embark on this third season, the focus is clear. It's time to actively contribute to the transformation of our communities for the better. How can we achieve this? The answer lies in a multifaceted approach that starts with reconnecting with our core family values. Strengthening our sense of community is paramount, fostering bonds that transcend the barriers that often divide us. Moreover, it involves embracing our foundational roots, recognizing the historical and cultural threads that weave through the fabric of our society. In this season, we're calling for more than words. We seek action. It's a plea to move beyond mere rhetoric and engage in tangible, impactful initiatives that contribute to positive change. The time for empty words has passed. Now more than ever, we need to put our convictions into action. Together, united by a common purpose, we can make a substantial and lasting difference in the well-being of our communities. So join us on this journey as we explore not only the challenges, but also the opportunities for growth and progress. Together, let's turn our shared vision for stronger, safer, and more connected communities into a reality. Thank you for being a part of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal, a platform dedicated to fostering change and making a positive impact on the world around us. Shut up and help. As you can see in the title, I want to get into an in-depth conversation because I always thought I understood or knew what accountability and transparency is and was. But now I see that everybody's got a different outlook on what accountability is. Everybody has a different outlook on, what's right, what's wrong. And that's what I want to talk about because I see a lot of that, and not just in the Black community, but just in society, period, of that we don't like calling out people because of certain things. You're called a snitch, or you're called a whistleblower. You're called everything other than that you're telling the truth. You're called names. Oh, he gay. He like men. He like this. He like that. They put these stories on you, and everybody. A lot of people run with that shit. A lot of people believe it. Our people will tell lies, and it's like, when are we going to stand up to that? Because I don't see a lot of people out here getting behind the truth tellers. You know what I'm saying? Because if we were actually behind truth tellers, I feel like we wouldn't be in a lot of this bullshit that we're in. And to me, that's part of the biggest problem that I feel that we face, is that we say that we want solutions, but in all honesty, do we really want it? Because I see so many people say that they fight and that they want to better the community, but that's not in reality, right? It all sounds good and looks good on paper, but when you look at their actions, or when you look at the things that they actually do, right, it's not good. But because sometimes we don't understand the difference, or even know the difference between right and wrong, we'll say that it's okay, or we'll look the other way. But it's not. And this is the thing that I want people to know. If we would stand, like people say that, year 2024 is the year of standing on business. If we were standing on business, we wouldn't be in the predicaments that we are in. We wouldn't be over arguing and debating over goofy ass shit, right? Because we've all been taught differently. And nobody seems to really understand that. Is we've all grown up differently. That's the thing of it is, I see when it comes to people of certain races and ethnicities, right? Because we may grow up in the same jungle, but our circumstances are different, right? But that doesn't make us any different. It doesn't make us any different, right? It just means that we all have different stories. And that doesn't mean that anybody's story is less important or more important, because we should listen to everybody. It doesn't mean because somebody is rich that they're a stakeholder and they have, that doesn't make them better, right? It doesn't make their story more important, because there's other people that maybe have the same success, the same reach, but got there a different way. It doesn't make it any that they're wrong and that they're right. It's just that everybody's got a different story and everybody's circumstances may be different. But we have to take that shit into consideration and not just overthinking of like, oh, he just got to stop complaining. No, maybe there is some truth to what he's saying. Maybe there is something wrong. And just because you can't see it or you can't feel it doesn't mean that it's not there. And that's what, because that's the one thing that, you know, I will never understand is that we always will neglect people's experiences and feelings, all for the simple fact of that maybe we don't understand it or we can't see it. Instead of just, you know what, maybe, and that's the one thing that I will say of that, the conversations that I've been having lately is people actually want to sit down and say, okay, you know what, how can we help? How can we get rid of the wrong so our communities can start being right? And there's probably going to have to be a lot of those conversations, right? But I'm glad to see that there is a process going, because I think that's been a long time in the coming. And I think that it's when they see people coming together, that scares the majority. That scares the powers that be, because they don't want us coming together and uniting. Because when they see that, right, because they don't, here's the crazy thing of it is, right, because this is how I see this, is us coming together and fighting the majority, fire with fire. That's what this is about. And I'm not talking about people to go pick up your guns, right? What I'm telling you is to go pick up your pen and paper, go put on your shoes and get ready for some peaceful disruption. And see, people are going to be like, what does he mean by that? I'm talking about grabbing a pen and paper so that we can match them legislation for legislation, that we can match them bill for bill, ordinance for ordinance, not just out here sitting there complaining about it or that we can do it better, but let's show them that we can do it better, right? And then what I mean by grab your shoes is because you're going to have to put shoes on to go outside the house, right? Because city council meetings, right, committee hearings, county commissioner hearings don't happen in our four walls. They happen outside of our homes. So we got to get up, get out, get off the couch and start paying attention to what's going on so that we can start, because if we know better, we can do better. So let's start actually putting that know better to action so that we can start doing better in our communities, right? Let me be quiet for a little while. And I got this video that I want to show, and it's about the no snitch culture is destroying the Black community. And I feel like it's destroying our systems, period, because even when it comes to the police department, there's the blue wall of silence. So it's not just, you know, in the Black community, it's in our system as well, because, you know, even when it comes to the corporations and, you know, people come out and say things, they're called a whistleblower. So really, it's not just this video, is just really more of the experience and that I've had to live through, other Black Americans have had to live through in their community. So I just thought it was more to heart, and I thought it was more that people could understand it. So.
Yes. And one more question. I'm the only one that got charged with narcotics.
Yes.
All right, as to your...
If you had seen who shot you, would you have told police?
No.
Why?
Because the type of business I'm in, it would definitely hurt my business. And the way that I was raised, I just don't do that. I was raised differently, not to tell.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
So you wouldn't tell him I need a police emergency?
Come on, Anton. Come on now.
No, bro.
You
No.
say you from the hood now.
No.
What y'all want me to turn out to be a snitch?
I saw a video that I had to share with you guys. We're going to be talking about snitching today, snitching in the Black community. I know it happens in all communities, but we're talking about the Black community today. And I have a question for you guys at the end. I have a question at the beginning and I have one for the end. Would you snitch to save someone's life? If you knew someone was going to get hemmed up, get hurt, unalived, would you snitch? Would you tell them? Would you go to the authorities? Would you tell them? Oh, let's talk about it today.
Okay, so hold on. So I want people to, there's a bunch of people listening right now. I see there is 13 people, right? So I would hope to at least see at least 6 or 7 responses from the viewers of, if it was to save somebody's life or to get accountability, would you do the right thing and tell? Because first of all, you're not a snitch because you're not a part of the crime. So I'm going to stop there, and I want to know people's answers.
Man to man is so unjust. Children, you don't know who to trust. Your worst enemy could be your best friend. And your best friend, your worst enemy. So I love that song by Bob Marley. I'm sure a lot of my Caribbean people know that song very well, the legend Bob Marley. And that song, Who the Cap Fit, that talks about betrayal. And it's also a cautionary tale, a warning, so to speak, that sometimes some of the people in your life who you think have your back, who are your friends, who are your family members, who love you, who's supposed to support you, you think that those are the ones who would not betray you. But those are the very people who end up betraying you because they know so much about you. They know your life. They know your moves, right? And the people who you think are your enemies sometimes turn out to be your best friend. They turn out to be the ones that help save you from something. Which brings me to today's topic, snitching. So I came across this video recently that got my mind percolating, and I wanted to share this video with you. I'm sure if many of you watch YouTube, you've probably seen it, or you've seen it, just share it on WhatsApp or whatever. But it's a video by Anton Daniels. And the video was so interesting. I saw it on a YouTube short that I thought I would share it with my audience so we can have a discussion about this. I wanted to have this conversation because one of the things I often hear from the Black community is we want a safer community. We want a community where our kids can thrive, where we don't have to worry about being SHOT when we go outside, that sort of thing. And I just started to think about why we have this, we're so on code with this snitch culture, right? In the sense that we don't believe in accountability to the point where we will remain silent when we know somebody is an assailant, someone has hurt somebody. Okay, so let's just jump right in because it's a quick video and I want you all to hear it.
Me and you together, dude run up on us, carjack us or something like that, I get shot, but I'm still alive. You calling the police or no?
I'm not going to want to call the police if I'm shooting. They going to ask you need a police emergency or a fire truck.
So you wouldn't tell them I need a police emergency?
Come on, Anton. Come on now.
No, bro. No.
You say you from the hood now.
No.
What y'all want me to turn out to be a snitch? Oh, come on, Anton.
Nope. Listen, I love y'all, but I have to make myself a priority because y'all don't love me the same way that I love y'all. And if my life is on the line, I need you to call the police, and you unwilling to do it because you keeping it too real for me. I got a wife, I got a daughter, and I don't need, I don't need nobody hesitating over me. People will sit there and say, no, Anton, you got to continue to be for the Black community. Man, that.
Y'all asking me to be a snitch? Y'all want me to be formed to a snitch?
I'm asking you to save my life.
Woo! That last line right there. Hold up.
Y'all asking me to be a snitch? Y'all want me to be formed to a snitch?
I'm asking you to save my life.
That last line right there. I'm asking you to save my life. I watched this video. It's very short, right? It's just a short little clip, and I'm sure it's a part of a much larger conversation, but that's the clip that I am reacting to today, right? Because I don't know who the gentleman is, who he is interviewing, but it just kind of blows my mind, the thinking, right? Because if we're riding together, like this is what Anton is saying, I guess they're supposed to be friends. And he says, if he gets hit, like, are you going to call the cops? You're going to call, ambulance. You're going to call the authorities to help me. And he was like, no, because he's trying to stay on code. And it's like, who are you staying on code for? So a lot of times you hear in the community, snitches get stitches. And it's just like a warning to anyone who is thinking about talking or going to the police, that there is some danger on the other side, or there are repercussions, physical harm repercussions for you if you open your mouth to the authorities. And it's just insane that to think that I could be riding with someone, I could be a friend of someone. I don't know the circumstances, right? I don't know if they ride, and y'all know what riding mean, if they about to pull up on somebody or roll up on somebody. But I just don't get how you could be with someone, you see them get hit, they get hurt, and you don't even think to like call the authorities. You would watch your partner die, like your friend die, your family member die, just so you don't get this label of being a snitch. It's just the craziest thing to me. And I just started to really question like where this whole culture of not snitching came from. And it's not something that it's exclusive to the Black community. We hear all the time, like, for example, if you watch like the movies, especially like mob movies, they talk about rats. You can't be a rat, right? If you're in this game, right? If you're in this game, I suppose, of um selling narcotics, or you're just in a sort of like an underclass lifestyle, you're in some sort of bad lifestyle, then I guess there are some street codes that you have to adhere to. I'm not even interested in this lifestyle, so I don't want to have to adhere to any of this code or any of this stuff, so I'm not even interested in that sort of lifestyle, right? But I think the thing that really, really bothers me is when it spills over to people who are not in this lifestyle, right? So you witness something happening in your community. You have to live in this community. You're seeing people doing wrong inside of your community, and you are determined to say absolutely nothing. I've watched so many reports of children being uh, unalived inside of their communities, inside their neighborhoods. Innocent kids who are either walking home from school, or they were home doing homework, or they whatever. You always see these little shrines in the inner city communities of kids who have been um, unalived by some assailant, right? And it's like, do I think for one second that there aren't people who know who committed these crimes? Of course not. Everybody who is tied to that knows who did what, but they will not say anything because they don't want to be perceived as a snitch. And a lot of these folks aren't even in gangs. It's just like they're adhering to this code for what reason, I don't even know. Why are you adhering to a code, a gang code, when you're not even a part of a gang? Now, let me just talk a little bit about why I think some people do it. I think that there are some Black folks who have a general distrust of police officers, of authorities. They don't trust them one bit. They feel like whatever they say can go back to whomever they're pimping on, whoever they're snitching on, right? So that's not the first person that they're going to call, even if they know something. So there's the distrust factor there. Also, where if somebody came forth to say that they saw something, and they're willing to go to court, those people might not even make it to court, right? And so for a lot of people who are here, they're not going, because they don't have a trust of the police officers. They're not going to go to them, and then they're fearful of retribution. They're fearful of retaliation. That if that person knows that they were the person who snitched on them or whatever, that of course there are repercussions. Their families can be affected, especially if they have kids involved or older people involved. It's not just them; their whole family can be hurt by it. But I just don't. And while I understand those things, it's just so tough for me to reconcile knowing that someone has hurt another person and just being quiet about it, right? Or knowing that something is about to go down and you don't say anything. Like you can report things anonymously, right? You can report things anonymously. A lot of times people want credible tips, and sometimes you have to go in court, and I can understand why people don't want to do that because there's a fear factor. But I just don't get why we're adhering to these sort of gang codes about not snitching, and we think that that's just like so funny. Like the way people talk about it is like, oh yeah, oh, he is snitch, and for what?
No snitching. What about, I can't let you come in my neighborhood and run it down, bro. Nah, you can't sell that shit. These kids over here overdosing. Bro, you stand across the street selling Percocet pills across the street from the middle school, dog. Your trap set up right here. Why you ain't standing on that?
Do you know how many Black men are sitting in jail right now because they refuse to snitch on somebody? I remember when Lil Kim, the rapper Lil Kim, went to jail. And I mean, it's like the culture was so proud of her for not saying anything. They were so happy that, like, Kim, a real one. She a real one. She kept her mouth closed. It's like, but you went to jail. You know what I mean? You went to jail. You had to serve some time. Like, and this is something to be proud of, that she stayed on code, but she went to jail. Like, it's just crazy. And then if you're somebody who has a family, you'd rather keep your mouth pinned up. You'd rather be quiet about this thing rather than just speaking your piece. And I look at it the other way. I look at us remaining silent as saying that we condone what happens in our communities. We condone the violence. And there are some people who don't believe in going to the police officers. They don't believe in going to authorities to get justice. They believe in street justice. And so then you have this cycle of violence that just continues endlessly because someone's going to get this one back for doing this, and this person's going to get that person back. And it just never, ever stops. And I'm not saying that going to the authorities immediately works, but what I'm saying is if you create an environment and a culture of accountability where people know, hey, listen, I can't hide in this neighborhood. I can't hide here because people are always watching and people are always talking. I feel like it would make a dent in crime in some way, shape, or form. But watching this video, it's very, very quick. And I'm so happy with what Anton said. You just can't roll with everybody. And that's why you really have to be very careful about the company you keep. And it's not always easy because, like I said in the beginning, and you never know who is the person who's going to betray you. The person who knows all your secrets, they know how you move, they know when you move, they know what time you get off from work. Sometimes those people can be the very ones who set you right up for the kill. And it's just so sad. I'm not going to ask any of you if you've ever snitched on anyone, but what I will say is, if given the opportunity to tell someone or to warn someone about some impending doom, some impending disaster, something, would you say something? Would you warn them? Would you tell them if it's your friend?
Interesting. Brings up some very great points. And, I know from just even myself dealing with certain cases and different things that have happened in the community between rape, murders, robberies, and the things that you sometimes have to deal with because people will be seen, a certain way. And for me, I would rather have a person be honest instead of for you to sit there and tell a lie. So that way I don't have to look at you weird or differently, because why wouldn't you just come out and just tell the truth? Why cover it up with a little lie or, only tell half the truth? Why not tell the truth and nothing but the truth? So it makes me really wonder, but then we can sit here and we go to, not just the streets. We can go to our judicial system of where you literally have people that will get on the stand, raise their right hand, and say they swear to God to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help them God, and still get up there and lie. And we know that they're lying. And then when you see that there isn't any accountability for that, What do you like? That's my whole thing of it is of like when you sit here and you look at a system that has never been accountable, to itself. How do we, as citizens, expect to get accountability from each other? Because I want people to understand that we live in a system that doesn't even want to be accountable to itself, right? Because if it did, there wouldn't be people as called as whistleblowers. There wouldn't be people that have to literally go live in other countries because they've exposed certain things. That the Edward Snowdens, the Julian Assanges, and I know I probably just said that man's name wrong, and I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? But there is people that have sat in bars, behind prison bars, that have been murdered, Gary Webb, all for telling the truth, for exposing the truth. And yet we don't even believe these people because of the simple fact of we are indoctrinated and programmed to think a different way. Right. Higher barbecue. Hey, I'm going to stand on it. I honestly believe, if you look at anything in history, right? What does history tell us? If you want something, you got to take it, right? If you want something, you got to take it. If we want change, we're going to have to take it. And honestly, I don't know what that looks like without violence. But I'm not trying to start a civil war either, right? I just want people to do the right thing. But I understand that if you want peace, you cannot get that without war. And we are at war. So how do we get peace? Because the war's already been begun. It's already been going on for years, right? And I know people got to get tired of fighting. See, people think that this fight is all about guns, bombs, and no, it's a fight of brains as well, right? And that's what people don't understand is there's supposed to be a team effort because there's no I in team. You're supposed to have people with the brains. You're supposed to have that team is supposed to have muscle, right? Logistics, researchers, people that are boots on the ground. But see, all of those people are supposed to be with the same thing in the same vision by any means necessary. Regardless of, but all that means too, though, is that they will protect everybody in that team. That's why we as a community fail, because of the simple fact of we have leaders that already their agenda is not the community. Their agenda has never been the community because literally they will do things anonymously, Crime Stoppers, and make tips on bogus arrests and get paid. And then our youth suffer. Our kids suffer all for that. And we still allow these people in our communities. Y'all are not ready for these conversations, man. Everybody want to talk about this and that. People don't really want to have how the fuck do we really change our communities? Because it's going to take getting some pastors. It's going to take getting some selected officials out of the way. But I know this, it's also going to have to be about standing on business. Because you know what's crazy is? I've come to the realization that there's only a few opportunities in life, and it's either you go with it or you bypass it. I see a lot of people that in 2020, I think were, you know what, I'm ready, but I'm not ready. I can tell you right now, I'm ready. And that if it means that I die in this, then I die. But I'm not going to stop telling the truth. I'm not going to stop exposing, snitching, whistleblowing, whatever the fuck y'all want to call it. I'm not going to stop doing it because at the end of the day, You people, the Jerry McAfees, the Lisa Clemens, the Alfred Flowers, senior and junior, the Ellisons, Jeremiah, Keith, the Vitas, the Bobby Champions, the Cedric Frazers, that literally shit on our communities every fucking day. And people, and what's crazy is how Black people stand behind it. You stand literally behind the trauma in our communities. You stand behind it and you don't call it out because you have certain people that will literally, because you do a few things, you give us Derek Chauvin and 3 others, but you forget about all the others. What about all the other since that we literally have to do? Because right now, Ricky Cobb's killer is in the news about getting his case overturned. It shouldn't be. Regardless of whatever the fucking prosecutor did, right? Let's leave it to the hands of the law. The man broke the law. That's what's crazy, all because a person can read it based on their political views, their political agenda. You know what I'm saying? It's like right now, even with what's going on in Minnesota, they're taking straw purchasing serious because police officers got killed. What about all the other fucking babies that died? You guys say you care so much about kids. What about the babies that are dying from all those guns that are being straw purchased? Or that are being built off of computers, are printed off of, like, come on, ghost guns. You guys literally, let's not sit here and pick and choose a battle when you want to fight it when it fits your fucking narrative. Because straw purchasing has always been a fucking issue in my community that you guys never want to talk about. But now that it kills police, you want to talk about it. Because literally, I just shared a story yesterday on Facebook, or not Facebook, Twitter, about 2021 and how they've linked literally 6 people or 6 guns to over 118 crimes. And some of them are murders. Some of them are attempted murders. So what are we out here really doing, man? And I ask that question to anybody that out here that say they're a violence interrupter, because at the end of the day, if you have a contract with the city or you're a nonprofit, you're a liar. You're a dirty effing liar. Let me see your 990 forms. Let me see how much you're doing for travel, because I know what that means. Let me see what you're doing for occupancy, because I know what that means, right? And I don't want to see you buying new cars for yourself or new houses for yourself, for the simple fact of that money's supposed to go to the community for travel and occupancy, not your fucking travel and your occupancy, nigga. That's a nigga. People like Jerry McAfee, Lisa Clemens, that's nigga. That is not even, Brian Heron, all these so-called pastors. These Shiloh Temple, them people are, man, those aren't men of God. Those are Satan's angels. And I'll say it to their fucking face too, Brian Heron. It's crazy how a man who was a city council member was arrested for bribes, for taking bribes, right? And yet he's a pastor talking about because he's born again. Man, get the fuck out of here. You ain't gonna be, I don't give a fuck about you being born again. They don't make you a man of God, and it don't mean that you're walking God's path. Because you out here doing the same old shit. You just got a title in front of it now. The title's different. It was before you were a city councilman. Now you're a pastor. I got smoke for all these niggas, man. And I'm telling you, I got all the smoke. I got all the smoke because I'm tired. And I'm hoping that other people are sick and tired and y'all come out and speak too. Because they're not the majority. We're the majority. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. We are the majority. They are not the majority. They are actually the minority. if you really want to talk about it. It's that really the truth tellers, we kind of have we can't see past the division, right? And the reasons why, because at the end of the day, we still all have the same goal, right? Doesn't matter if you're gay, doesn't matter if you're trans. If you out here fighting for the betterment of our community, what the fuck? I don't care what you do. Scooby Dooby Doo, all I care. I don't care if you go home and dress up as Velma. I don't care what you do. As long as at the end of the day, you're not out here trying to peddle that shit to the kids. You're not trying to indoctrinate them into something that they're not ready for. I could care less. But if you're about teaching the true history, if you're about teaching them to be human beings, respectable, loving, caring, to care for thy neighbor, instead of everybody out here judging thy neighbor, the fuck? Like, that's what I don't understand, man. How can these people be men of God, but yet they judge? Only God can judge. Because I'll tell you right now, can't no motherfucker out here tell me shit. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to stop speaking the truth. And I know damn well there's a lot of truth tellers out here. I will say this because I'm sick of people out here honoring the Ron Edwards and the truth tellers, man. Stop honoring Malcolm and Fred when y'all don't mean that shit. You don't mean that by any means necessary shit. Jelani, Toussaint Morrison, them niggas don't mean that shit. This shit be tripping me out. Just like Lavish at the St. Louis Park High School. Man, get your weird ass up out of here. Don't nobody want you. You're not even you're an activist. Only time you come around niggas when the cameras are around. It's the same with all these niggas, man. The only time that's why we don't get nowhere. This shit is like a fucking movie. I feel like we got to be inside of a movie because everybody wants a fucking award. An award. What y'all want? The best activist award? Because we ain't. It seemed like we ain't. That's what's crazy. Is I was sitting in a space listening yesterday, and to see some of these people, and then they call themselves activists, and then but come to find out oh, I just do this for content. What kind of content, nigga? I really start to look at this shit in a different fucking view now, man. I'll tell you that right now, and I really start to be feeling real funny about people because it's like, why are you not using your platform? If you are about content, why isn't it about educating people about making legislation? Because I'll tell you right now that just even in the last 2 months, I've had numerous people reach out to me about helping them with legislation. Just even yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So don't even I'm gonna play something for y'all real quick.
I'm calling from Work Rises. Tamara gave me your contact information. We're working on the Connecting Families Coalition. We're pushing for SF 4387 right now. And we are reconvening as a coalition. I wanted to.
Yeah, so I want y'all to know, motherfuckers be reaching out. So don't sit there and be like, oh, Chaz, just get on here and do this and do that. No, Chaz, the fuck don't. Chaz do a lot. 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 Behind the scenes. That's the crazy part of it is of literally that I want to do so much more because I feel like I can do so much more. And I want to help. But when you have certain gatekeepers, right? Like at CMAH, you know what I'm saying? Or you have people that are at the NAACP that try to shut you down, right? Or you have certain organizations that will speak ill on your name so that other people won't work with you, even though that you've never really worked with those groups. They'll speak bad on your name. Like, how many people literally have to deal with that? So what does accountability look like? Because I don't see people building off solutions. I see us putting more trauma and hurt than building a foundation. Because I don't see people trying to build. And that's what I want people to understand is like, this shit, I really thought, that, certain people are saying that, oh, 2024 is going to be, but they aren't explaining how it's going to go. Because this shit is going to get bad. It's going to get bad. And if we don't stand up and be like Barbecue, be like Huey, be like Fred, be like Malcolm, and stop trying to be like Martin, BLM, Sean King, and let's stand up for something and not just anything. Because the people's names that I just mentioned at the last part are people that stood up for anything. They stood up for anything. Anything. Because they don't want to give us the heroes that stood for something. Because they're trying to erase them. They're trying to erase our heroes. Our real heroes, not these fake ones they want to keep on giving us, not these false prophets. We got to do our research. We got to look into history because there's a lot of Harriet Tubmans. There's a lot of Frederick Douglasses. There's a lot of W.E. Du Boises, Marcus Garveys. We just got to dig deeper because they'll give us Emmett Till, but how many other Emmett Till stories are out there? Right? Because I found one. And the crazy part, he was my uncle. So, how many other stories are out there? Because there's plenty of George Floyd stories. There's plenty of Breonna Taylor stories. Rodney King, Tamir Rice stories. Shit happens every day. It just ends up being a different name. But we've all heard the stories over and over again. It's just the names change. Story is still the same. Black man dies. Innocent. No weapon. Mental health disturbance. Now we see a story about a child. Police call, family situation. All of a sudden you come out. 15-year-old killed. 15-year-old, like, come on. We shouldn't be hearing those type of stories. That's not what police are supposed to do. That's not protecting and serving. It's crazy. It's because I don't know how many people remember and I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. The pregnant woman in the grocery store parking lot in Ohio. Letitia Young. Right? Who remembers the woman who wasn't stealing, but they thought she was. So the police went after her and then tried to say that her car was a weapon and shot and killed her. But see, that's the narrative that we got, is that she stole. But the truth was, she didn't. Just like with, oh man, there's so many fucking stories, and I'm trying to, Ma'Khia Bryant. We found out that the story is that a teenager was about to stab another teenager who I guess was fighting. But come to find out, it was actually a grown-ass motherfucking woman that she was protecting herself from. And Ma'Khia is dead. While a grown-ass woman and a police officer kill a girl, a teenage girl who was protecting herself. But because the police didn't want to get the fucking information, they didn't want to get all the facts, a girl's dead. She was the one that called for help. That's what I will never understand, is how can you call for help and be murdered in cold blood? And the crazy thing is, the other woman is, and I say woman because she was a woman, not a child, she was a woman, is free. And yet the news, mainstream media wanted to put it on the grandma, the mother, because she was in foster care. How about, where were y'all at trying to keep that family together instead of trying to demonize them and judge them? Where were you at when that family was asking for help? That's what I ask people, because everybody always got solutions afterwards. Well, why weren't we trying to prevent it? Right? Where's the prevention? Where's the prevention? Because we got all these nonprofits that are supposed to be out here preventing. Just like, here's the crazy part, right? Because you're going to see this a lot in the news over the weekend about the shooting that happened on the New York subway. How did a man get a gun on the subway and they have over 1,000 National Guard and different type of law enforcement agencies in their subway system? When does law enforcement, when is that going to help? Huh? Please ask me. Please answer. When is that going to help? More police, more law enforcement. When has that ever worked? How about we figure out why the resources ain't going to the right places, right? Because if you don't give people a need to sit out here and rob and steal and kill, there goes half the violence. You stop. Here, Joe Biden, I got a solution for you. Stop bringing in the fentanyl. Stop bringing in the cocaine, right? There goes half the gun violence in America right there. There goes half the gun violence. Stop allowing our CIA to bring guns into the community. Stop allowing the army to sell guns that shouldn't be out in these streets. Stop allowing manufacturers to make pill pressers that they can just plug in storage units, our garages, our basements. Stop allowing companies to sell compounds to make pills from home. How about that? How about we enforce straw purchasing so that there's actually consequences behind it? Instead of only, you guys want to say something and it happens to the police. Because it happens in our community every fucking day and y'all don't want to say nothing. Every day. It's not a black community problem. It's a community. It's a problem in the whole, everybody's community. When it comes to the inner city, if it's a poor community, we literally have so much supply of gun and drugs and people be like, well, where's it all coming from? Have you ever wondered how? Because I'll tell you right now, is that most drug dealers still live in their own communities. So if somebody is living in the projects and they might drive a $50,000, $60,000 car, might be got probably $20,000, $30,000 shit worth in their apartment, nice furniture, whatever, clothes, jewelry. That doesn't buy no fucking plane. Like, think about it. That doesn't buy a plane. We don't own no ports. Or really don't own no fucking boats. So y'all tell me who the fuck is bringing in all this coke? Who the fuck is bringing all the fentanyl? Because I'll tell you right now, we don't own no ports. We don't own no fucking airports. Right? Oh, but wait, hold on. White people do though, right? Because I remember the one in Princeton, Minnesota, that the cartel helped the city build. That was bringing in coke and guns, right? Don't nobody remember the Miami of Minnesota? Don't nobody remember Casey Ramirez? Don't nobody remember the times of when the mafia was here? Oh yeah. I mean, they still here to a degree. Still ran. But y'all don't believe that shit. Y'all don't believe in these things because you're indoctrinated not to believe it because you think it's a conspiracy theory. But yet, when it's put out there in broad daylight, people don't want to see it. That there's literally gangs that work inside police departments. I don't know how many times we've called it out. I don't know how many times the media has called it out. And yet, you guys say that we're liars. Because what people don't understand is, and what they don't want to tell you is, blood in, blood out. There's one way in, one way out. So I that's why I don't take this shit serious. Of people being called gang members, because it's blood in, blood out. That motherfuckers just don't let you leave like that. They don't let you leave like that. And I don't see niggas out here getting all bloody. Because it ain't always about them killing you either. But they definitely gonna make you bloody. Because you're born into this shit. But you definitely got to get that blood out shit. So I really want to know. Nobody really answered. Would you tell? I'm not going to call it snitching. Would you tell if you knew somebody who had raped somebody in your community, or who was sold them bag drugs and somebody OD'd, or you knew of somebody that, let's say, did a drive-by and killed a little kid? Are you going to tell? Are you going to do the right thing? Because I'm telling. Because I would hope that somebody would do that if it was in reverse and it was my child, or it was my grandchild, or it was my brother, or it was my sister, my niece, my nephew. I would want justice. Because I'll tell you right now, me killing that person doesn't bring them back. But I damn sure want accountability. And see, here's the thing of it is, because my accountability probably looks different than a lot of other people's accountability and justice. I do believe in an eye for an eye, and I damn sure do believe in self-protection, right? Self-defense. But I see a lot of others don't. And that's what's sickening to me, is because what if that was your child? What if that was your sister that was raped? And all because somebody didn't want to come out and say the right thing. Right? Come on now. Like, is this about doing the right thing or not? Because there's too many people out here that say they do the right thing, but yet allow to go on. They allow all the wrong to go on and not say nothing, all because they get paid. 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 right or wrong, all because they get paid. And then they go up there and they do these drama. I'll say it like drama scenes, right? Because you'll go up there and they'll make a big old scene about something. And it'll be all over the 9 o'clock news. But yet nothing ever changes from it. But yet they get their little 15 minutes of fame. But nothing ever changes. You know, how many more protests do we have to have? Because we shouldn't have to have any. Why does it take for... It's the one crazy thing, because I'll tell you right now, I want people to honestly think about this, right? How long did it take before the crack finally broke in Haiti and we see what we're seeing now, or even Brazil, or what you're seeing in Germany, and all these other countries that are fighting back their government, right? When is that going to happen here? Because I'll tell you right now, it's a lot closer than what people think. It's a hell of a lot closer than what people think. So you're literally going to have martial law coming soon, and you don't even realize it. Because people are going to finally stand up and see what the fuck is going on. And you're going to have people that are going to have to choose. They're going to have to choose what's right and what's wrong. Because there's going to be a lot of people that will still stand up for the wrong. And some of those might be family members. Some of those might be your parents. Might be somebody you had a child with. So I want people to think about that. But you got to choose of what's right and what's wrong. Because an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And we have to believe that. Not just believe it. We have to live it. We have to walk it, breathe it. It's not just something that we should get all giggly about when we're all protesting. We should honestly believe in that shit. We should stand on it. Because how can you say something but not stand on it? Because I hear all that all the time, protect Black women. But then yet when women are calling out certain people, oh, bitch, shut the fuck up, stupid hoe. Then it'll come about how many people she done slept with. How is that protecting them? By belittling them. Because of maybe some choices they made along their journey. How is that helping? Let's stay focused, please. And that's not jabbing at anybody. I'm just saying real shit. Like everybody, every time we start talking about something, it's always a distract tactic to stray us off what we're really talking about. That's why we don't ever get accountability, right? Because minions, they're puppets, their followers like to get involved, troll, cause so many distractions that people forget about the scamming. They forget about what just happened a few years ago, right? They forget. See, and them type of people, they hope for that, the Melina Abdullahs. And what's crazy, I said all of these names in a space the other day, and a lot of people didn't even know who the fuck I was talking about. That just shows me, again, how much Black Americans, we Black people don't pay. And I'm saying Black people because that's what they consider themselves. Freedmen, Negroes, whatever they want to call themselves, right? And it's like, damn, how do y'all not know these names? These are people that are say they're fighting for you, for reparations, for all these other things, and you don't know them. That's a problem. That's a problem. But you know Mark Carter's name? Or you know Isaiah Washington? But what about the people that have nonprofits and they get money from the government to help us get these things, but yet we're nowhere closer to getting it? Y'all niggas got it. What are y'all fighting for? That's what I will never understand. Because we care more about if a nigga had a woman's blazer on at Mar-a-Lago, or if he had a men's jacket. Like, I don't give a fuck. Right? What was your conversation with Trump about reparations? I don't give a fuck about anything else y'all talked about. I don't give a fuck that the nigga had a painting of himself there that was for sale for $110,000. I don't give a fuck that Rudy Giuliani was there. I don't give a fuck that Laura Loomer. How does that help us get reparations? How does that help us get change in our community? Because I don't give a fuck about that. That's the one crazy thing. We care more about meeting celebrities, so-called celebrities, and taking pictures. Funerals aren't photo sessions. That's why I stopped going to that shit. Because it's like, people don't even take this shit serious. Oh my God, Spike Lee there. Oh my God. Oh, I gotta go meet Spike. Well, wait, shouldn't you be there for the person that you're there to support? The family? Now then turn around, you there because Spike Lee there. Are you there because Al Sharpton is giving the eulogy? It's not a concert. It's not a play. Somebody just lost their loved one. And you have so many people in there that are talking about this person that don't even know them. No, I know. There's so much others, Michael. I'm just trying to bring up just one point of view of how they really disenfranchise us from getting to the goal line. Because it's not just about reparations, right? There's so much more to it. There's the Civil Rights Act. There's affirmative action. There's DEI. There's so much other shit. That's just the tip of the iceberg, buddy. If we're being honest, the No Child Left Behind, the 1994 Crime Bill Act, right? Even the new crime bill that's about to come out. All that shit is directed at us. On paper, they'll say that, oh, hey, no, man, that shit fucked our community up. That's the one crazy thing, right? I was having a conversation with the person, going back and forth with them on Twitter, and they said something about Dr. Claude Anderson was wrong of saying that in the Constitution that we at one point didn't have any rights, right? And people take it out of context of like that he's talking in today's terms, which he is to a degree, right? Because they'll say that, when the Constitution was originally written, we were only seeing, it was called the Three-Fifths Compromise, right? So because we were enslaved. So when the 13th Amendment, which made that no person was enslaved unless by punishment, could have the rights, right? Then we got the 14th Amendment, which gave us the right to vote, and then the 15th Amendment, which something else, but right. So we basically had everything included, right? It's just that we didn't understand that, okay, we had all of that, but how do we make it work for us, right? Because they figured out a way to say that, oh, hey, we got a way, but yet we were undereducated and didn't understand and just went with it instead of honestly saying, hey, wait, this is happening to us, so why don't you let us program it and do it a way that we should be able to do it, and not just tell us the way it should be, because that's what we've seen, right? Because here's the crazy thing, and I'll take it back to Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, which are Black people recipes. Now, because the bottle was shaped after her and Uncle Ben was all over boxes, they're telling us that that's racist. You guys just took away history, all because you say it's racist. I didn't ever see that as racist, because here's the thing of it is, I'm sure that they were compensated, maybe not the way probably as they should have been, But see, what had happened is, what should have happened is, we should have fought for more compensation for those families instead of just taking it away, because now we just got rid of history. That's what we did, right? Because you know why I love peanut butter, and I put it on everything. I like peanut butter burgers. I put peanut butter on my oatmeal, my noodles, my honey buns, my cinnamon rolls. Shit, I put pancakes, French toast. I put peanut butter. George Washington Carver. That man did so much with peanut butter that we use today. Right? We don't give no credit to the people that actually, because there's a lot of things. We wouldn't have electricity. They say, well, if it wasn't for Thomas Edison, I think his name is. Oh, God damn it. See, even I don't even but I know that if it wasn't for a black man and his invention, that he wouldn't have been able to give us light without his invention. So it's like, we got to understand the complexities of those types of situations, because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of shit that we use today, even with GPS, that's a black woman, right? And see, here's the thing, if we would have our own economy, banks, where we could literally keep that type of shit inside of our families instead of having to sell it off, right? Because we got to think about that. Because what's crazy is I see people like, just like Black Lives, there's certain, like Juneteenth is trademarked as a flavor. People didn't even understand that. Like even FBA, they say Tariq. The nigga trademarked it. He trademarked it. That's what people, so every time somebody says FBA, that nigga gets paid off of it because it's trademarked, it's copyrighted. Durr. But he won't tell you that. That's what people don't even understand. They literally, that's why even when it comes to these family members, they should literally trademark their family members' names, because I'll tell you right now, we are worth more dead than alive. Because George Floyd's name brought in billions. Dante Wright's family brought in billions. And what did they get paid? You got people out here talking about they all about them, but yet won't do nothing for them. They'll demonize their sons, their kids, but yet won't help. Because I've seen plenty of families that have lost their loved ones, that are homeless, couldn't feed their families. You didn't see them organizations who get all that money trying to help them. They'd make GoFundMes and rip them off. Nobody was out here giving out money from their own pockets. But there was a few. But that money ran out for us too, because nobody wanted us. Nobody wanted to support us. Nobody wanted to support real people. Nobody wanted to support mutual aid, because they said, you know what? Without other people and without the government, we can never do it. Yes, we can. See, that's what they want y'all to think. That's that black victim. That's that black victim. That's that victim mentality. We need that victory mentality, that no matter what we face, as long as we do it together, we can accomplish anything. And that's how I feel with the team, the people that I have around me right now. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm working on so much shit. And I don't want to talk about it, because when you talk about too much, it doesn't come into existence, right? But see, I talk about it behind the scenes. I don't got to talk about it on social media, because I'm talking about it enough in the back channels, right? So it is going to come into existence. It's just that y'all don't know about it, because you won't hear about it until it's time to know about it. But just know that I do have some big shit coming. Some big shit. And it's not about making money. It's about showing people that we can do this if we believe in ourselves, because Trump ain't going to do it for us. Biden ain't going to do it for us. I'm not telling y'all not to go out and vote, but what I'm telling y'all to do is go grab your pen and paper, your pen and pad, your shoes, and let's get to fucking work, right? I'm not telling y'all not to go vote, but we got work to do, right? Because practice makes perfect. So we got work to do. And we got to have these conversations to get ready, right? It's time to get war ready. It's time to prepare. And the only way we do that is by education. Education. Because we got to fight fire with fire. Because if we can stop what they're doing, you think they're not going to get mad? If we shut down their plays, right? Because that's what this is all about. It's chess, not checkers. And that's the one crazy part. People give up because they're like, oh, they're smarter than us. No, they're not. Think about David and Goliath. Think about all these other stories in time where the unbeliever always wins. Where the little guy always, we have to work harder, but we always win. Hard work will always beat talent. I'm telling you right now, I don't know how many times that I've seen that on the basketball court, on the football field. I've had some of the most talented basketball teams. I've coached some of the most talented basketball teams. But yet, when it came down to it, that hard work beat that talent. That hard work beat that talent. Because everything looks good on paper. But if they don't stand on that, if they don't stand on those plays, how's it going to work? That's why I say hard work always beats talent. That's why I'm telling you right now that and I'm just talking about basketball terms right now, right? You'll be seeing you get into the gym. And this is even for me when I played AAU, and you'll be seeing the team of white boys. But then as soon as you get on that court and all of a sudden all 5 of them motherfuckers are Steph Curry and they ain't missing, and you just be like, damn, like, oh, definitely overplayed these motherfuckers. Definitely underestimated them. But they knocking it out the motherfucking gym, and they're not doing it by dunks. They're not doing it by playing flashy, right? They're playing fundamental basketball. And it's crazy how we used to talk shit about Tim Duncan, who was one of the most fundamental basketball players to ever play the game. He was all about the fundamentals. And people talk shit. But that man was a magic. Same thing with Magic Johnson. Same thing with John Stockton. And it's even like with football. They want to call them game managers. What's wrong with managing the game in your control? That's what it's supposed to be about. Right? It's a sport. They're supposed to go at your flow. That's why practice makes perfect. He doing what he getting paid to do a thing. And that's to go out there and win games. Right? We might think it's ugly, but it wins games. Just like the same thing out here. It might not look good right now, but we get this shit organized. We strategize. We're going to make that shit look real motherfucking good. Because I'll tell you right now, it's already looking good. People are waking up. People are waking up. Because that's what education does. Right? It makes people, that's the one crazy thing. I wish people got the same feeling that I get from reading and learning that they get from out here being in the streets, protesting, yelling at empty buildings, because it's such a wonderful feeling. It's such a wonderful feeling of turning on the TV on YouTube and looking at, state legislators debating a bill that you help author, or sitting in a city council room and to see your resolution or your ordinance get unanimously passed. You know what type of feeling that is? It's exhilarating. How many people can honestly feel that and say that? That's something that they literally authored was passed. How many people can say that? Not many. So let's actually not just say it, let's do it. How many people have been to sat in Human Rights Commission meetings? How many people have sat in just school to figure out how to do city charters or how to figure out how to make change in your community? Because do you say it, but do you mean it? You say it, but do you mean it? So I'm going to get out of here. I got a great day ahead of me today. Going to have lunch with my moms. We're going to Townies. So you want to see me? I'll be in the local area of Rochester today, having lunch, running some errands. So if you would like to see the Urban Conservative, don't be shy. I'll be out in public. I do take pictures, I take autographs, and I do all of that. Don't charge either, so don't be scared. But don't be out here trying to copyright, be like, oh, hey. No, I'm just playing. But I want everybody to have a great Friday, have a great weekend. We will be back Monday. And we're going to continue this because I'm going to bring some others on here. Before I leave, before I say my little spew here, next Saturday, I will be having some special guests. I will be having somebody that I highly look up to, Miss Vale, who was out here fighting for her son, Eric Holmes. So I will be having Miss Vale on here next Saturday to talk about her journey and the fight that she has had to endure to get justice and accountability for her son, Eric Holmes, but also along the way of the hurdles, because she's had some hurdles. And I want to have a comment. I'm getting away from the interview, like kind of thing, and more like having a conversation. So look forward to this conversation that me and Jontel will be having with Ms. Vale and learning about what's going on in Georgia and learning about what's going on in Clayton and Fulton counties. Because you just seen breaking news this morning that Fani Willis is staying on Trump's case, but has to get rid of her Nathan Wade. So look out for that. So I will be having her on next week, next Saturday. So stay tuned. And until Monday, you guys have a great weekend. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well. Urban Conservative.